At the beginning of this week, when I chose the text, I debated between using the Good Samaritan story and the story of Jesus at the wedding. And then during the week, the Haitian crisis happened, and I began to debate whether or not I picked the wrong text. But I decided to keep my original choice and talk about this because life is full of all kinds of events. Some of them are horrible events like the one that we've seen this week, and others are joyful. And life tends to be a mix of both joyful and sorrowful things. I want to talk about this story about Jesus at the wedding because I don't think we think of Jesus at a wedding. We think of Jesus dying on the cross, Jesus rising from the dead, Jesus helping people, but we don't often think about him at a wedding. And the very first event in his ministry, Jesus was at a wedding. He was an invited guest, and they ran out of wine. Now, I don't know how they planned that, whether they just drank so much that they exhausted it all, which is a possibility, or they just didn't plan well enough. But the beauty of this story for me is that Jesus started his work on earth at a wedding, making sure there was enough wine and that it was of a good quality. Does that alter your view of Jesus at all this morning? I hope it does. One of the things I want to say to you this morning is that Jesus was a loving person. And he was not always serious or at serious events. When you read the Gospels, you read he's casting out devils, he's taking and giving teachings where he deals with tough subjects like divorce and loving your enemies and committing adultery, and you hear all people laughing and dancing and drinking and having a wonderful time. And somehow there's a belief that Jesus would have no interest in anything like that. Jesus is just about church or a Sunday morning where hopefully you sit for an hour and get something out of it and then go live your life. What I see about it is that Jesus is interested in the Gospels with all aspects of life. And that he is with people in the bad times, but he's also with them in the good. When I think of a wedding, I think of a joyful occasion. And here he is. Later, at the end of his ministry, they're accusing him because he likes to eat too much, and they call him a glutton, and they think that he drinks too much, so they call him a wine bibber, whatever that means in Shakespearean English. But it wasn't pleasant, and I'm sure it wasn't a compliment. And they accused him that he didn't hang around with nice people all the time. He liked people who were sinners. He liked them. He was with people whose lives were imperfect. He was with people who messed up. And when they did come to him for help, he didn't judge them. He said, I'll help you. There's nowhere in this story does Jesus say, well, that was sure poor planning. How stupid is that? Invite a bunch of people and you don't have enough to serve? I don't see any of this condescending judgment or a judgmental attitude coming from Jesus. Jesus appreciated community, and Jesus understood that community was about love. We often live our lives very fragmented. Some of us think that God is only concerned when we're doing something bad, or we have failed, or we have disappointed people. But the Jesus of this story is concerned about every part of our lives. The celebrations, the great occasions, the parties, all of it. And so as we reflect on this story and think about our own lives, let's be aware that that love and that joy is all part of our faith. And he'll be with us in the weddings, and he'll be with us in the funerals, and he'll be with us in the good times and in the bad. And I can handle a God who enjoys a good party. Amen.